Hi YouTube, it's Graxy. Welcome back to my channel. Hero Siege Season 8 begins on September 12th, and with that, I'll be going through all of my Season 7 build guides and updating them for the new season. In today's video, we're going to be checking out the starter and progression guide for the Slicing Throw Butcher. I'm going to be going through all the information that you need to know to league start this character, get it to a place where you can start farming in early hell, so you can get into some good progression, as well as give you some ideas and advice for progressing the character into the end game. Be sure you hit that like and subscribe button to keep up to date with all future Hero Siege related news, content, and build guides. And let's get started. First things first, let's talk about the slicing throw skill itself. You'll see I'm going to throw my weapon. It'll hit an enemy. It'll arc out, right? So you only throw one projectile. I can only throw one. You throw one projectile on a cooldown, comes back to you. If you hit a target, it arcs out into more projectiles. Now you do get those additional projectiles from this augment. It doesn't start with that many, right? You only start with 3 on your first point, then you get 4 and 5. So you will need to be level 100 to get all 5 projectiles. And there's also a couple other things we got going on with the Slicing Throw Butcher. First, you have some different forms, right? So Unholy Form is going to give you a big damage buff at the cost of life replenish and life steal. So essentially, while you have this Unholy Form on, right, you're not really going to be getting any life back, right? We can mitigate that with a few different sources, but the main one here that we use is Insatiable Hunger. This is going to activate our holy and unholy forms, which basically means we're going to mitigate the downside of the life replenish and life steal from unholy form. So during this Insatiable Hunger time period, we can now leech and get juice back, right? So let me show you what this actually looks like in a map. I'm going to hit my Insatiable Hunger. This is going to give us our juice back, as well as it's going to turn on Unholy Form, which will make monsters explode on death. Gives you a little bit of AoE explosion juice, right? Which can be scaled. But essentially what the build will look like. Obviously, I have teleport on this character and a good amount of cast speed. You might not be this fast in terms of your teleport, but you can get some pretty good run speed on Butcher as well. Okay. Before we get too far into the build guide, I do want to talk about a couple things here. The guide was created during the closed beta phase of Season 8, and it's based on the content mechanics that were available at that time. Please note that certain features, balance changes, or other game elements may be modified or updated as the game progresses towards its official release. I do my best to provide the most accurate and effective build recommendations, but they can change things at any time. This is all subject to change. As well as in Season 8's closed beta, we did not have access to an item spawner. I was not able to just get any item I wanted at any time. We had to farm everything. So in terms of the super end game, it's an unknown field, right? You're going to have to experiment. You're going to have to do some theory crafting, just like I have done in this build guide, the progression guide. A lot of this stuff is theory crafted, or it's information that we've had from the past seasons, bringing it into the new season and just updating it for the new season. So what's changed for the Butcher? First things first, all weapons got a buff to their enhanced damage. So S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, D tier weapons that are rare or higher got a enhanced damage buff, right? So that's going to be really nice for any physical class. This is a physical build, so we're going to be taking advantage of having that additional attack damage. As you're leveling up, you're going to notice like, oh shit, I just found like a 200 attack damage weapon in, Act 5 or something, which is really nice. Now, for the Butcher specifically, Insatiable Hunger did receive a cooldown reduction. It went from 70 seconds to 50 seconds. This is going to feel really nice. Whenever you do get a bit of extra cooldown reduction, you'll be able to have more uptime on this, as well as Slicing Throw, the swap Daisy and Daisy's Insight and Bladestorm nodes on the sub-skill tree. I'll show you what those look like here. This is currently Season 7. So these nodes got flipped. So cooldown will be here, and Bladestorm will be here. Ultimately, this isn't going to make any difference, right? You might have to do a little bit of pathing difference. We'll kind of talk about that when we get to sub-skill trees, but overall, not a big deal. And lastly, Furious Strike's base damage was buffed from 68% plus 22% to 168% plus 32% per point. So this is going to make Furious Strike actually somewhat decent at killing bosses in the early game while you're leveling up. All right, so pros and cons. You do have very consistent damage progression with the Slice and Throw Butcher, especially with the weapon changes. It's going to make it feel nice while you're leveling up. You do get satisfying meat explosions. Slice and Throw's cooldown was changed to 1 second from the previous 1.5 seconds back in Season 7. This just makes the build feel way better. You also have several damage passives in the build, and Vera's Strike single target is pretty decent for killing bosses now. However, this build, right at the very start, until you get a decent weapon, it's better leveled with twink gear or using a relic, right? There's a way that you can farm the tutorial to get a decent relic to kill some of the bosses and stuff. Don't have to do that. If you're playing with a friend or something that has decent boss damage, you can kind of bypass this limitation, but it doesn't have the best single target right at the beginning. It does also require managing different forms. You have the unholy form and holy forms. The unholy form makes it so you're not going to get any health back, and you're going to be eating your own life. So you're going to have to switch either between forms or manage your insatiable hunger in order to not die, right? Be able to get good uptime on that. You also have no built-in damage reduction or defenses on a butcher, and you don't have any fun fresh meat sound effects, which kind of sucks. I wish that the butcher was this butcher said fresh meat. All right, let's check out skill trees. Pretty straightforward. If you on the written guide, you will have a readme section. This is just going to talk about how you can use the tutorial to relic farm if you want to go that route. Otherwise, I do have skill trees from level 1 through 100. You'll just click through the different sections to find out exactly how to put your points in. Now, once you hit level 40, you gain access to your first augment. And there's also sub-skill trees. You get a point in the sub-skill tree for every 5 character levels. So for example, if we're in our tree here, right? I'm gonna hit reset on this. Once I hit character level 5, I will get 1 point. Once I hit level 10, I'll get a point. Once I hit level 15, I'll get a point, right? You cannot unlock these big nodes here until you hit level 40. Once you hit level 40, these will start unlocking at level 40, level 70, and level 100. Okay? So here's what these slice and throw sub-skill trees can look like. You can go with more cooldown if you would like to. I think a 1 second cooldown is honestly pretty damn low already. So I kind of opted to get a bit more of the size scaling on it, because I just like having the extra size on the knife to get, to hit things, because I have shit aim. But you can go with the cooldown option if you would like to. For attributes, we're going to be going 2 points strength, 2 points vitality from levels 1 through 100. You can go with a little bit more strength to get a bit more damage if you'd like to. You could get, more points in vitality if you're having trouble finding life. So you really got to kind of play with this. You can change your attributes at any time. Also, dexterity provides you with attack rating. So if you're having, some trouble hitting enemies, you can put points into dexterity to kind of help with that. In the end game, you will want to put all of your points into strength. All right, next we'll go through the gearing. This section is just designed to give you some workable suggestions on what gear to acquire at different stages of the game, right? So at levels 1 through 100, you're really just looking for rare, mythic items, just really anything that you can throw on that makes sense for your character with certain attributes or certain affixes that you can find on that gear. So in this section, I have all of the weapons through charms and just different things that you will want to look for on those different gear pieces. For weapons, probably the most important part of all of leveling a Fizz class or butchers in general is you want to keep an updated weapon, right? So be looking for weapons that have enhanced damage on them on a D tier. Once you find your D tier enhanced damage, you'll then look for a C tier. Then once you find your C tier, you'll look for a B tier. Once you find your B tier, you'll look for an A tier, right? So you're just constantly updating your weapon as you go through. It's really going to help with making sure that you have enough damage throughout the campaign. Also, with the new loot filters, be sure you're using those. Once you find your D tier enhanced damage weapon, check the box off so you don't see D tier weapons anymore. And then when you see C tier, check the box off so you don't see C tier weapons anymore. It'll help you with being able to spot your next weapon upgrade. So definitely go through here and check out what some different affixes are that you might want on your different pieces of gear, as well as if you scroll down a little bit, I do have some rune words that you can try and make while you're leveling up. Not required, but definitely something that you can, you can get a little extra juice from rune words. Like maybe you find a Hellfell and you can make a fog and get a ton of resistances, up to 40 res on this. So that's an option, as well as using gems, right? There is gems for every element type. You are physical, so you're going to want to use diamonds. These will give you additional flat skill damage to the slice and throw skill. This can really help with giving you some additional damage while you're leveling up. And of course, there are leveling satanics. I'm not going to be recommending that you go farm for any specific leveling satanic. I am going to be updating all of the guides to have leveling satanics, just showing you some different satanics that could drop while you're playing. If you get them, great. If you don't, that's fine. Just keep going, right? Now, in Season 8, they did introduce star leveling back to the game. I do have an entire video talking about star leveling and how that works, so be sure you go check that out so you understand how star leveling works. I don't really see you doing this while you're leveling. You're not going to be star leveling a C tier weapon or something, but you might want to be looking out for mythics while you're leveling, prospecting them to get star leveling material, so that whenever you do get to early hell and you find a crazy mythic weapon, you can star level it to get extra juice on it. So be sure you check out that video. Once you hit level 100, I do have a full set of budget gear that you will want to look for, right? Or try to acquire. There's tons of different options in here for, weapons, offhands, helmets, right? Anything and everything that you would kind of want in the early game is going to be available in this budget section. And then, of course, for progression, this section is dedicated to some items that are available for helping you push the hell difficulties. The entire game went through a difficulty scaling rework. So your current Hell 5 in Season 7 is not it's not the Season 8 Hell 5. It's definitely much different. You're going to need more oomph. You're going to need more juice out of progression. So previously, physical builds, a lot of times you just put on a weapon, go straight to Hell 5. In some cases, you might be able to do that, but you're going to need more juice from farming early hell to really make Hell 5 even worth being in. So there's also quite a significant rework to target farming in Season 8. So you're going to want to go through and decide what items might work for you. If it ends up being more than one item in any given area, you can go and target farm those items much more effectively than you could in Season 7. So keep that in mind as well. Molten Paw, very important. You can put that on your back bar. It adds a way to get burning. You do get burning already, technically, with Slicing Throw, but depending on if you wanted to move your tree around and go a different route with it and not take the burning node, you could use a Molten Paw on your back bar to get burning, to get the extra damage sources from, Coffee Container or whatever else it may be. So that's what Molten Paw is about. Once again, check out the progression gear here. There's tons and tons of different options of weapons that you may want to acquire for the build, as well as I will update anything that's missing in the guide. There are a couple places that we're still updating things. Generally on a butcher, I'm actually going to generally on a butcher, you're going to use a two-hander, right? You want as much attack damage as you can. Not very many people run a shield on some of these two-hander builds, but yeah. For helmets, same thing. Kind of go through and see that there's tons and tons of different options. We've included any new items or reworked items in here. So yeah, moving on. I do have Inferno items. So anything that was in the progression section or the mid-game section of the Season 7 build guides, we've moved to an Inferno only section. So that way you can see if what you can maybe acquire from Inferno. And Inferno is much harder now. It's much harder versus before. I could have, there could be some things that trickle down in trade, or maybe you could get to Inferno and farm out an item or two. Now it's easier to get to Inferno, but it's harder to be in Inferno. So we've removed everything out of these sections here and put it in its own category for you to view. So that way, whenever you're looking through for progression gear, you're not going to be like, oh, this item is in Inferno, I can't get that. Now for relics also went through quite a big rework. So I do have a ton of options here. There's a bunch of like maximum damage potential if you decide to go all crit. Here's, most likely the ones that you'll want to go, all the crit items. Your bonsai tree, you can get 40% cooldown on it now. Tons of attack damage from Commander Sword and Monkey King Bar. There's also a ton of additional life relics. You can get so much life in relics now. as well as proc effects. Proc effects before were not too good. They weren't the best. There's a lot of relics now that can offer some decent proc effects. You know, chance to get agility, chance to get live by the sword, demon form, whatever it may be, and then some additional utility options. So tons of available relics. Potions for the most part didn't change too much. I do have all those listed in here. Chest augments didn't really change too much. Basically the same. Berserker Rage still gives tons and tons of damage. Tempest Strike has been nerfed a bit. So I think Lethal Tempo is probably going to be the best one here. That's probably what I would go. But Tempest Strike can offer, you know, some good value as well. And Berserker Rage is going to be the most damage straight up, but you're going to decrease all your resistances, so it might not be the best option right at the start. Now, Mercenaries got an entire rework. Mercenaries went through an entire rework. I have all the information on Mercenaries with their buffs and nerfs, everything that you'd want to know for them, as well as instead of just saying that this build uses a specific merc, I went through and just made skill trees for every merc, as well as gave options for all of them with codes, right? So Knight merc, Archer merc, Mage merc, so you can see exactly which items you would put on which character, as well as we updated the merc to have, you know, some of the new items and stuff that maybe would work really well on them, right? So entire mercenary area for you. Next, we have hero levels. Hero levels are going away. Well, going away, they're completely changing coming into season 9, right? So this will be the last time we have to really worry about hero levels, but I still do have this available if you're not sure how to spec your hero level tree. Be sure you check out this video here. It's pretty simple. There's some different strategies, different things that you can do based on the gear that you have and what you're trying to achieve. So definitely give that a look-see if you're not really sure what direction. It's not really a one-size-fits-all, but it's kind of a one-size-fits-all tree, to be honest, if you're playing Fizz or a caster. As well as glyphs. Glyphs didn't really receive many changes going into Season 8. If you're not sure how glyphs work, be sure you check out this video. I have a ton of information on glyphs and just different ones that you might want to use, as well as a list of them on what they actually do. For loot filters, I will have loot filters available for Season 8. I just actually finished making all of them. This took me absolutely fucking forever. But this will give you information on how the loot filters work, as well as I will have starter filters, nightmare filters, early hell filters, and endgame filters for every class archetype that you'd want in the game. These will be available on the website on their own doc because it's a lot. You will be able to make these before the season starts. You'll want to do this like an hour before the season starts, and then you can save it and have it ready for the new season. You also might be able to make this in the open beta that's starting here on September 5th. So definitely get your loot filter together, save it, export it, put it somewhere, and if it works in the new season, great. If not, oh well. And then, of course, if you are a bit newer to Hero Siege, you need some additional information, I do have a document that has a ton of additional helpful resources. This will also be available on the website soon. But this will give you information on, you know, progression tips, mining guides, how to level, zone farming, all that sort of stuff will be available if you need some additional information. So with that, that's going to wrap up this video. Be sure you guys hit that subscribe button so you can know whenever I post a new build guide. Come watch me live at twitch.tv/Graxy_TV. We're going to be playing the hell out of the open beta. We're going to be playing the hell out of the new season. There's some really cool new titles and rewards that you can get, like completing a grail in Odyssey. I'm super excited to do that. So come watch us. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video.